In law, statelessness is the lack of citizenship and slash or nationality, or the absence of a recognized link between an individual and any state. A stateless person is someone who is not considered as a national by any state under the operation of its laws. He or she has no citizenship or nationality. Let's see here. Now that is interesting. America's on that list of stateless persons. I wonder if this number down here, I wonder if it's indicative to the so-called African American population. I mean, it has to be a lot more than that. Now, I could be off my rocker. But all right, so I was reading around, pulling around, and I found this, and I thought this is interesting because this absence right here, this stateless person, doesn't that remind you of this back here, the Dred Scott, right, case, where they claim that any Negroes whose ancestors were imported into the U.S. and sold as slaves. See, we got them right there. Imported into the U.S. None of this stuff applies to us then, right? Because we know the truth. None of us we weren't imported in here, right? So we got them. There's I mean, that's like a big red tape, right? That's what we got them in the lie. Now we need remedy, right? I mean, you sit back and think about this, right? Oh, you came from Africa, you were brought here on ships, yada, yada, yada. Think about this for a moment, right? How come, if we go back into our genealogies, all of us seem to almost have the same stories? We always find out we have a grandmother, a grandfather, a great grandmother, a grandfather, a great uncle who was a Native American, who was an Indian, they say. Not even Native American, an Indian, right? In my case, like my sister pointed out, we have high yellow, Native American ancestors that had blue and green eyes. We have an uncle from Alaska who was red, who was an Indian, but yet we can't seem to find that African link, right? So if we can't find that, then since they're claiming that we come from Africa, the burden of proof is on them, right? What was that? Was that court that law phrase that you hear passed around? No, don't claim anything in court, right? Because he who claims it now has the burden of proof. But if they're claiming that we're from Africa, then don't they have to prove it, right? And I mean, we can get them all which ways. I mean, come on, the fact that they found those bones down in Brazil, and they actually, sent them to the UK to make sure that their findings were right and that they were Negro, but they still won't tell you, what DNA match that walks among us match these people. They won't add that to ancestry, so even ancestry is acting as a fraud. They're shameful, right? I mean, But I think might be our problem, that we are recognized as a stateless person, right? Because of this, I think this is where they actually showed their hand. That I mean, and it's messed up, I mean, they have to prove that we're from Africa because we can prove every which way that we have no ties to it. Not trying to be disrespectful, to Africa and the people that are over there, and what they're going through or anything like that. I'm just saying we got our own damn problems. I better calm down. We got our own problems, excuse me. And just reading that was like, wow. I tried to see if there what this Freeman Oath was, Apparently, it didn't even apply. At least this doesn't apply to us at all. It says here that the oath of a freeman was a royal oath drawn up in the early 17th century to be taken by a freeman of the Plymouth colony. And we had nothing to do with the colony, so that, I mean, at least as far as I know, we had nothing to do with the colony. So, I mean, I figured that was applying to, the British that came here. Because I know Plymouth is in the UK. But, just tried to figure out if what that was about, like how exactly did our people end up taking on the last name of Freeman, and how was the exact process. There's probably court cases to back up what I'm trying to find. I just haven't been able to find it so far. This just seems like it was something given to them. I mean, it talks about, what does it say here? A freeman was any established member of the colony who was not under the legal restraint. The oath was a vow to defend the Commonwealth and not to conspire to overthrow the government. So, yeah, they're obviously not giving us that title, right? I even went to, let's see. I even went here to the Merriam-Webster's Law Dictionary. I got caught up on citizen because I thought it was weird the way they spelt it with the Z, which it was. I mean, it just takes us back to, at least in my idea, in my mind, this takes us back to the whole, what is it called, birth certificate and marriage certificate, right? When we're citizens like this, because it has to do with franchises and companies. Let me see. I don't think, oh, it's not working. But anyways, sorry that it was such a mess, but I'm still just trying to wrap my mind around the stateless person. Because in my mind, for some reason, this stateless person is here, right? Because of our lack of being a first-class citizen or even a citizen. It just seems to be, in my opinion, what this is. They're connected. The two of them are side by side. The lack of a nationality and so on. So let me see here. Oh, I was looking up the etymology of the word band, which was interesting because band takes you to, let me see if I can pull it up. Let's see here. Let me see if I can get this off of here. Because like, was it Native American tribes always have, there's some that are out there that call themselves, no, I'm spelling it wrong. Here we go. They call, some of the tribes call themselves bands of, like the bands of Cherokee that broke off, that wanted to be purebred, that got onto the creek about being, a mixture. They claim that the Greek Creek were so mixed with the Negro that they couldn't tell which was which. I want to show you what I thought was there. Where was it? There was a. I don't see it. Well, I just don't see it. The noun. No. I don't see it. The other time when I just looked this up, they said bands were also confederations. That is weird. But anyways, I'm gonna leave this up. Check it out. I'd love to get your feedback. If you know what I was trying to figure out or not. I mean, it's all right. I mean, shoot, I'm gonna sit back and think about it even more because that's really bothering me the statelessness or a stateless person. Because, I mean, how do you really become a person with a state if the United States is a corporation and everything that they've done now is under the guides of a corporation? You have your second class citizenship because of this corporation, right? If you even have a citizenship. I mean, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, and then there's the whole problem with, well, the United States isn't a state. If it isn't a country, then what state or what country here do you become recognized with when you declare yourself? You know what I'm saying? Like when you want to apply for it, because you're not going to go to the corporation, the United States corporation, and say, "Hey, I want to be a member. I want citizenship." No, we're trying to get away from that. See what I'm saying? All right, everybody, take care.